Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. If outsourcing is something that you want to get good at, you are going to love today's show. Carol Vincie is known as the A Game Accelerator, supporting business owners just like you to operate productively, increase their performance and grow their profit. In today's show, Carol is going to share the strategies that she uses to get shit done in her business, to hire and more importantly, grow her business. Learn it, model it and get shit done. Let's go.
Welcome to the Brand Builders TV series. Today we're going to be discussing build your strengths and hire for your weaknesses. I am Carol Vincie, the founder of Productivity Tools and Insights, a speaker, author, and venture capitalist. Today I will be going back into a little bit of my family's history to make some of the points I want to discuss further on in the program. My sister is a natural athlete. There are no amounts of lessons and practice that can close the gap between anyone who has a special gift in a particular skill to those of us, normal mortals, to be able to replicate their abilities. I can personally speak to that because I've tried in both tennis and golf with dismal failure. Those of us with limited economic resources in the late 50s and early 60s had no opportunity for organized girls' sports. It turned out that my sister in a practice could hit a baseball over the fence, but could not play in any games. This led for a very uncomfortable relationship between my sister and our brother, because my dad repeatedly insisted, "Why can't you play like her?" And in addition to being a her, it was his younger sister. Let me go back to my sophomore year in high school. I scored 100, a perfect score, on the New York State Regents geometry exam. I also got a 76 in Spanish. The school program that I participated in did not allow for any sort of out of the mold programs. And I was restricted for the next 2 years of not being able to take any math tests. Now, I struggle with phonics to this day, and I've never researched whether that's part of my dyslexia. But I could spend a lifetime with a book on any foreign language with dismal results. On the other hand, my brother, who was sick for a week during the school year, learned to speak Hungarian, our national ethnic background, from reading a dictionary, of all things. Obviously, his natural adaptation was languages. Many of us carry the scars from these initial conflicts or reactions to our weaknesses all the way through our lives to our death. And I'm trying to get you to focus on our strengths. I want you to share these experiences because I've struggled with a lot of negative impact on my life, carrying a 20-pound bag of briquettes or sand or whatever, flour, whatever you want to envision. And I want you, and if you are a parent, to take the time to uncover the gifts, talents, or magic that everyone around you both in your personal and professional experience share. These stories may be outdated, but there are still restrictive environments. I encourage you to fight every system, whether it's for your kids in the school programs or for yourself in your work environment, to allow you to excel where your gifts reside. In my first job as a manager in 1981, I was encouraged to work with my staff to strengthen their weaknesses. This is a topic that I discussed in my book on goal setting. If you have a 20% skill level in any activity and you double it, it's still unsatisfactory performance. On the other hand, if you have a 70% skill level and you double that, now we're talking about serious productivity. This is where I want you to spend all of your time and energy. The pace of business in this era is just so fast that there is no time to work on our weaknesses. So you may say, I'm just started my business, or I don't have the cash flow or a nickel to invest in hiring anyone. What do I do? Well, here are a couple of solutions. Interns. People who cannot find jobs, who are recent graduates, and in this economic environment, it is much more difficult to find positions as a new employee, will welcome the opportunity to address your pressing issues and build content for their resume. Barter. This is the system where no cash is exchanged. You value your widgets compared to the person you're bartering with, their widgets, so maybe one of your services is worth two of their services, and you negotiate that ahead of time, and then you exchange services. Now, what does this do for you? It gives you an opportunity to expose your products and services to an audience that you naturally wouldn't have access to. It gives your audience an opportunity to provide feedback, to maybe tweak the products or services you already have, or they may love what you have and say, where have you been all my life? This is exactly what I've been looking for. And the barter arrangement allowed you to make contacts with people outside of your normal focus group. Posting through organizations. If you're a member of any type of religious organization or you do any type of volunteer work, these are people where there's already a shared level of values. So you're not making connections with a totally new person because you already have some common issues to work with. Think about even outsourcing household chores and include the kids in this. It gives them an opportunity to build some decision-making processes and to build some self-confidence in terms of what they might do in the future. Here are two items that come to mind. If you enjoy the serenity that a colorful garden provides, and yet you have no interest in the maintenance of that space, there might be a neighbor who either wants or needs the physical activity that gardening provides. This way you get the beauty without the broken fingernails or the dirt under the fingernails. Another area is if you value quality, high nutritious foods, but you have no intention of spending any time in the kitchen, there might be someone nearby who enjoys cooking and would not mind the addition of a couple of portions to feed your household as they schedule their regular cooking time, with you paying for the food and maybe a small fee for the service. But this way, meals arrive hot and you can eat them immediately for dinner, or you may put them have them in the refrigerator and be able to pop them in the oven just to warm up but knowing that your family is getting the quality food that you would like them to have without you spending hours on a task that is not in your favorite category. If your business grows and you now have consistent cash flow where you can commit to a paid staff, there are a number of options here. Virtual assistants, or VA services, are the way that they're referred to. There are actually businesses that will put together a group of people that they have vetted, who have the skills that you may be looking for, and bookkeeping is a typical one. There's probably very little that requires your best skill to make data entry of the last week's expenses for gas and supplies at the office supply store, or travel expenses. This can easily be outsourced. They will also work with you to help you define your job requirements, and they will help in the negotiation if there are any disputes that arise. Tim Ferriss, in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, gives a very detailed description of his effort to define the process that works for him. He chose a company around the world, a company out of the Philippines. What this allows him to do is when he returns from his workday, he dispatches a number of work requests over the internet to the people who are 12 hours different in time, so that when he comes into the office the next morning, the work is done and he's prepared to carry that information back to his clients in a very, very timely way, which impresses his clients and alleviates him of staying up maybe all night to do the research on a particular urgent project. You may want to stay local, and there is that option, so it's your choice. But again, here's an option. This is not instant soup, but it is worth the effort. And Tim, I haven't reviewed his book recently, but I think it took him 3 or 4 times before he found the organization that he has maintained a long-term relationship with. Part-time staff. Michael Gerber, in his book, The E-Myth Revisited, encourages you to track your time in all the categories that relate to your business. And when one category reaches the point where it can be outsourced, he then encourages you to make that disposition. I also address this process in my online time management course, and I encourage you to explore that. Job sharing. There are people who cannot or do not want to work a full schedule, but have the skills that will support your business. This provides an opportunity for you to get the perspective of more than one person. If you put together a co-working team, they can bounce ideas among themselves and then only present you the consolidated results for you to make a decision. I can see this working when you're doing graphic design, website development, or even blog posts. Because if you're trying to reach different markets, each person may be better suited to target the message to that specific avatar that your product or service is designed for. And it reduces your time and involvement. You're not going back and forth in the decision process. You're waiting for your team to present a solution, and then you choose the one that you're more comfortable with. The key to each of these options is to connect with people who have opposite skills. This is not the time to hire your best friends. The definition of a best friend is someone who shares your values, your skills, your interests. You are looking for somebody who is your opposite to cover your weaknesses. The story about Barbara Corcoran comes to mind as the best example of someone who, oh my God, get her out of my office, to, oh my God, we have a system in place. Barbara Corcoran was the female owner of a large real estate company in Manhattan. Very competitive real estate market in New York City, and particularly Manhattan. When she started her company, she hired people just like her, super salespeople, which Barbara clearly is. Barbara is also one of the regular panelists on the TV series The Shark Tank, where investors evaluate business owners who are approaching them for investments to accelerate the growth of their business. So when Barbara had this group of super salespeople, there were just a couple of issues. Like when listings got brought into the office, nobody tracked who the responsible party was. So when the sales closed, there was a fight over who was entitled to shares of the commission. Barbara's interviewing this woman, and she's sitting there going, how do I get this person out of my office as quickly as possible? Barbara's able to end the meeting in a few more minutes, and the woman takes Barbara's business card and puts it into a filing system in her purse. Barbara hires her on the spot. In weeks, there are no files laying all over the office. There is a system to track listings. There is a system to pay commissions. And when Barbara sells her business, this woman got a 7-figure check. That's $1 million, I think $500,000 or $600,000 as the result of her contribution to the success of the business. Barbara would never have been able to reach the sales volumes with just a group of super salespeople. She needed somebody who could put a system in place, execute that system, and demand that everybody participate for that business to have grown to the multi-million dollars that it eventually came to. That's why you need to hire your opposite. Let me give you a peek into how you might begin to bring people into your business. The first place you start is with yourself. What are the 3 things that you need to work effectively with someone? And I will start by using myself as an example. Number 1, the person has to be a self-starter. I have none of the patience to do a detailed, step-by-step description of every activity required in a task. If I bring somebody on board to help me, I expect that they will put a plan together, bring it in for a quick review, and then go execute. That is essential. I need somebody who is completely accurate. I still struggle with dyslexia, and even the software tools that are available for spell check often do not identify words that may be spelled correctly but are in the wrong context. And I am very concerned about my written presentation to the world. I don't want to be embarrassed. So the person who works with me must be able to fill that gap and be able to edit accurate that word. The person also has to be well organized. I was blessed during my corporate days by having a phenomenal secretary at one time. She would come into my office at the end of the day and put order into the chaos. So it actually looked like a professional desk. I can't ever admit to having just one piece of paper on my desk. That's not my work style. But every evening before she left for the day, my desk would be organized. In the morning, I'd come in, and in a couple of hours, there'd be 3 inches of paper of all sorts stacked all over the place. And she would repeat the process. So we kept a semblance of organization, at least for part of the day. And that is essential because I still have not developed those skills. My contribution to being organized is when I first started my business, I did hire a professional organizer because I do multiple things at the same time. And the recommendation that she made, and this was in 1994, and I have abided by it ever since, is color folders. So Staples, the office supply store in my area, loves me. I don't go in and buy the 4-color pack of 25 folders. I buy 100 of every color that they've ever come out with. And when they come out with a new color, I'm there stocking up, because every part of my business has a different color and nothing gets misfiled. So I'll give you an example. The assessments that I do for clients, my copy goes in a gray folder. The client's copy goes in a black folder. So if there is a black folder on my desk, it means that it hasn't been sent out to the client. And that's a quick way for me to stay organized. While I'm plowing through the 3 inches of paper on my desk, I don't have to open every folder. I open the ones that are the color for that particular subject. And I have been religious about that behavior. And that has saved tons of time and has made it a little less chaotic than it would be under normal behavior. Then the next side is when you bring somebody in. Again, the magic number is 3. You don't give them more than 3 activities. This is not the time to take the 6 months of stuff that has been accumulating in your business that you haven't dealt with and dump it on their desk. There is no way that you're going to be able to evaluate if they're doing a great job. They will be totally overwhelmed and won't even know where to start. So again, 3 activities, 3 tasks. Give them time to learn your business, learn your work style, come up with some suggestions, because if they're the right person, they will have suggestions for the tasks that you've given them. And then in a couple of weeks, sit down with them, ask for their recommendations, chat with them about your feedback for them. And if they're able, then you may add a couple. But again, we're not dumping the 6 months worth of unattended activities. Even at that point, it's still premature. That is not the way to bring somebody in. And if they're really aggressive and they come back asking, you give them one at a time until they reach the level at which they're going to cry uncle, which everybody will. Again, you want to have them use their skills and be as effective as you can. I'm offering another couple of sessions for the Brand Builders TV session. And the next one is the 3 secrets to turn your Mission Impossible dream into reality, with a focus on your core strengths. I will give you a quick exercise that you can do at home, where you will look at a process to uncover what your strengths are, and also what your weaknesses are, to help you start looking at what might be outsourced. So I encourage you to follow these sessions with Brand Builders TV. I also want to let you know that I do work with a series of web-based assessment tools that will identify your strengths and the strengths of anyone that you want to bring into the business. The expression is hire slowly, fire quickly. The time and expense that it takes to extract somebody who is the wrong choice from a business is overwhelming. So we definitely don't want to rush the decision because there's an emergency and you're thinking that you can put a finger in the dike and solve a problem. You may be creating a bigger problem. Jim Collins, in his book, Good to Great, offers these 2 comments. Get the right people on the bus and put them in the right seats. And I'm here to work with you to help you achieve that objective. Thank you.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.